Sit back and relax. It's another episode of Tea Time with Lynn. Now, sit back, relax, and drink your tea, coffee, or chocolate, your choice. Many people call tea time spill the tea, but I like my tea time to be full of stories. It's called more of the storyteller's tea time, or tea time with Lynn. Now, today's story, tea time story, is called The Palestinian Princess. And, well, I give you the name of the Palestinian princess later in the story. So let's start. Once upon a time in the beautiful land of Gaza, there lived a king and a queen. You have King Jafar and Queen Jeddah. They had a beautiful daughter, and also very sporty. She was not like any other princesses that you will find in fairy tales. Like, she wasn't like Sleeping Beauty or Snow White or Cinderella. She wasn't really much of a girly girl. She doesn't like girly stuff. She does not like dresses. And yes, sometimes that's where she and her father quarrel. Her name was Princess Rania. Princess Rania was a lovely princess. Many people would see her as the people's princess. Oh wait, we all know the English people's princess is Princess Diana, but Princess Rania was the people princess in Gaza. She would do her royal duties, she would attend royal events, she would do anything that is on a list scheduled. On a list to do her work. She would always do her duties faithfully and boldly. However, on a free time, she does like to sit back maybe and read books. She spends the morning reading books and newspapers. Also, she's very sporty. She goes and horse riding, playing, in the garden, playing ball in the garden. Well, not exactly ball in the garden. Sometimes she even goes out to the sports center to play some nice sports games. She also loves gardening and she has a very wonderful garden. However, even though she was a people's princess in Gaza, not everyone adored her. And yes, there were deep down enemies. Enemies out of somewhere near Gaza, there were enemies, and those enemies were called Israel. Israel hated Gaza, they hated Palestine, and they hated the people's princess there. One day, the leader of the Israel army made sure the leader again was called Dark Knight. Dark Knight made a vow. He wants to marry Princess Rania, and if she refuses, he will vow to destroy her kingdom. The Dark Knight was not just jealous of Princess Rania, beauty and charms, but he was also jealous of his brother, the king himself, Rania's father. King Jafar is the older brother of Dark Knight. And Dark Knight was always cast aside from his family. And since then, he vowed to marry his own niece so he can get the kingdom. However, once again, King Jafar protected his queen and his daughter, that he will not give his daughter away to his brother, since he already has a different suitor for his daughter. With that, danger arose in all of Gaza. The Dark Knight, the leader of Israel, decided to get his army together, and there, one by one, he killed his brother and his sister-in-law. However, Princess Rania was very smart. She did not fall for the Dark Knight. She did not fall for any of his charms or his tricks. Because in the end, she won as a princess of Gaza and future queen of Gaza. She vowed to look after Gaza at many times. She also, as a princess, as a girl still in Gaza, she was not supposed to join the army, but she did. She joined the army. She became the leader of the army to protect her own kingdom. Also, like I mentioned, her uncle, Dark Knight, the leader of the Israels, her enemies, she tried to defeat them, is also the father of Prince Eric. Prince Eric was brought up with the saying to hate Gaza forever, but when he was a child, he came across Princess Rania, and they immediately clicked. They enjoyed their time together, they laughed, they played, until they grew up as adults. Princess Rania was upset when she found out that her one true love, Prince Eric, only chose to obey his father's rules. Because even though Prince Eric did mention to Princess Rania he loves her and wants to be her prince, he said, I cannot do that. I can't turn my back on my people either. And with that, their love was broken. Princess Rania was heartbroken, and at some point she was nearly shot. So day by day, Princess Rania sees so many citizens, so many of her people dying, being shot, being houses and buildings being bombed. It pains her so much. She tries to forget Prince Eric since he shows his people, the ones that destroyed her people. And with that, hatred for the Israels filled her heart, and she vowed that one day she will be the queen of Gaza, the future queen, as God, that she wants to announce peace and find someone that truly loves her. Years went by, and at some point the Dark Knight died. He died. He was actually killed by his own bomb when he wanted to bomb an innocent family's home, but in fact he had the bomb on him, which he didn't realize. Yes, Prince Eric was upset for losing his father, but he then realized, wait, I love Princess Rania and I hurt her feelings. I want to propose to her but make this right. So he goes into the forest to meet Princess Rania and admits his feelings for her, and gets down on one knee to propose. And also to propose and make a vow that he wants to be her husband and also her consort, to help her bring peace between Gaza and Israel, Palestine and Israel. And which they did. As future queen of Gaza, well, still future queen, because of all the wars that in Gaza, Rani did not have time for her coronation. They went back to town and they made a speech. This is also where Rania and Eric have declared their love for one another in public and mentioned they were gonna get married, and Rania is gonna be the queen of Gaza, and Rania has vowed as queen of Gaza to unite Israel and Palestine, and there will be certain rules that each of us will live in peace and dignity and respect each other no matter where we come from. And this is to show the love. People from around the world have raised money for Palestine and Israel, so they ended up they made a foundation, a charity foundation, where they raised a lot of money, and they sent that money over for new buildings, new houses, new jobs, new clothes and food and shelter. Well, I already meant shelter. Yeah. And then once everything was rebuilt, we had a beautiful royal wedding between Princess Rania and Prince Eric. After the honeymoon, they also held a coronation. And on that coronation, the same vow and declaration was said. And they all lived happily ever after. Well, except maybe Dark Knight. But actually now he's with his brother and his sister-in-law, since he killed them. So he's now with his sister-in-law and brother. And still, they lived all happily ever after. If you might thinking, many people will say Dark Knight ended up in hell. I am not saying Dark Knight ended up in hell. He ended up with his brother and sister-in-law, and they ended up forgiving each other and declaring their love for one another, and they're now in a beautiful garden themselves. The end.